The Walt Disney Company has just announced the Country Bear Jamboree will be reopening this July. Meanwhile, all of the animatronics we're seeing online appear to be broken. Let's talk about Disney's big problem here on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is West Coast expert on theme parks, Mr. VashSky. Vash, do you know who else we've got?
I think I could guess.
We've got an expert on East Coast theme parks, that being Marvin, the movie monster.
Hello.
Welcome. I just want to know, if you saw somebody standing there and they were in a catatonic state and they could only move their eyes, would that be a pleasant view for you? Or would you think maybe something's a little wrong there?
It's up there. It's up there for me with the times that you would go into the Let It Go scene in Frozen Ever After and Elsa wouldn't have a face.
That's a very good point. Let's just go ahead and bring this up on screen so everybody knows what we're talking about. Here's my little jokey tweet. It's like the writers are Louis the alligator's sleep paralysis demon. There is Louis right there, stuck forever as he watches all of the happy theme park guests go by, his eyes desperate to signal to everyone, please help me. I am stuck.
You see the lone tear just roll down his face.
There's an alligator tear for you right there. Oh my. Okay, so for those of you who are somehow coming into this video unaware, this is Tiana's Bayou Adventure. This is the first real animatronic on the ride. You hear Louis's voice earlier in the ride. You see Tiana, like it's one of those ones where she's locked in position from the waist down, and she's just kind of waving her hands from side to side a little bit. And she said, "Louis is waiting for you," and she sends you up the hill. There's a couple of stalks of okra that move, but this is supposed to be the first showcase animatronic right here. The first that we saw was that the jaw was frozen in place, but he was at least moving around, which made him seem like he was one of those costume characters, like they could literally replace him with the guy who walks around the park in the Louis costume. Could be a lady, I don't know. But now, with him completely frozen in place like this is a little disconcerting.
Yeah, I would say so. This is pretty traumatic for a child, I would think.
Yeah, I'd say so. Marvin, if you had a few kids with you, do you think they would find that funny, or maybe they'll have a few questions?
I feel like I'd have to be answering a lot of questions from my kids about like what's going on here. This ride has been constructed for like 2 years, but they announced it years ago, and I always assumed they were already working on the animatronics before they even closed the ride, so they just had to like come in and pop them in there. How are they this bad?
That's a great question. By the way, there's like 6 of these, and they're going to be using almost that exact same. It's not like they have specialized constructions on any of these Louis animatronics. The differences are like on this one, he's holding a trumpet. On this one, he's standing a little bit to the left. There's not that much difference in any of the Louis animatronics. So whatever they're doing here, I hope this is localized to just one animatronic, and this is the glitch of the 12 or so Louises that they're putting on these rides across 2 parks. Vash, but that's not the only problem we're seeing. You wanna take it from here?
Oh yes, absolutely. So it's fascinating the kind of issues that are popping up, especially as people get more exposure to this attraction right here. This right here, I believe from Brer Oswald, he sent this to me. You see this image of Tiana sitting in that scene there where she's kind of off in the distance, and you slowly come up on her. This is that Tiana right there, and if you could look very closely to her arm as it makes contact with her hand right there, you can see there's some separation there. I'm gonna go ahead and try to zoom in even further.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it appears that her shirt right there is binding in some way and pulling it up in such a manner that it exposes that skeleton underneath, which is not very good, absolutely for sure. But these problems extend even further, and it's not just about these attractions or these animatronic figures breaking down or somehow not functioning correctly. Even when they do, they are a little bit underwhelming. You can see right here from Frank Makes Stuff on Twitter. See this this recording of Odie, the animatronic. This is the final one in that final show scene right there where, remember, Brer Rabbit was kind of chilling out and saying, "Hey, I'm home." This is that scene right there. So it's right before you disembark from your log. You can see that her loop right here is very strange in that you can kind of tell when she resets when a new log is supposed to be passing by. And it's very, very weird. You can kind of see how that. See how she kind of stops,
and
then
see
she
what you're
goes.
saying. And so this ride was set up with the brakes and the stops on it, so that you would get the same show scene every single time you went through the ride. It wasn't intended for you to see this multiple times on the same ride. I think that's a fair assumption here in the way.
I think it's a fair assumption as well.
So
But the problem, though, with that, Jonas, is that these boats back up very regularly in this specific scene. Anybody who's actually ridden this ride for
right, which all it would take is familiarity with Splash Mountain. Now, I will say, in defense of that Tiana animatronic, they are doing a callback to another attraction at the parks there. Here, one of my personal favorites, this being the Carousel of Progress, right here. I think she would fit in just perfectly right there in a nice updated bayou scene. Bayou.
I don't know. Not in that time period with that family, I don't think. But no, if that hand ever falls off, if they get that hand and the chip that's in her head, Miles Dyson can still create Skynet in the future.
That's perfect. We also need to point out, I'm going to return it to you, Vash, here.
Yes.
This is not the only attraction at Walt Disney World that is suffering animatronic problems. This one is actually at Disneyland, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Disneyland, and I'm sure when Tiana's Bayou Adventure opens at Disneyland, they'll have more problems there for sure. But this is a brand new attraction here. It opened in January of 2023 right here. You can see Mickey and Minnie being projected on the wall there. That's not supposed to be like that. That's the B mode for this attraction, or the alternative mode that they have for this specific scene if the A function doesn't actually work. And what the A function is you have a hot air balloon with Mickey and Minnie in it, physically represented as kind of an animatronic object kind of swerving across that horizon line there. And it's really unfortunate because that effect has been down for at least 6 months. It came back for a couple of days, and now it is back to B mode. Again, this is a attraction that opened relatively recently, and yet we have these prolonged B mode sections for these attractions.
Right, I want to say this is more like 18 months. By the way, this is yet another attraction that is an exact or near exact duplicate of an existing attraction elsewhere. Correct. The other thing is that when Bob Iger was bragging about how well they're running the company out there to Nelson Peltz and everyone who was involved in that proxy fight, he specifically pointed out Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway as how the park is running at full steam ahead, all cylinders. The company is turbocharged. Look at all the things that we've accomplished, hoping that no one noticed that everything is broken. They, of course, brought up Toontown. They brought up this ride. They brought up Tron. They didn't, and they, of course, brought up Journey of Water, IBM, there to try to point out how great everything is. Oh, World Celebration Garden, which we will definitely be talking about on That Park Place Live. All of those attractions were broken in some significant way. The least of which being like they had to tear out the queue and replace it with blank walls. The most of it being that they had to shut the entire thing down for many, many months while they put it into additional repairs because it was released incomplete. So this is a problem that we're seeing with everything across the parks.
Yeah, I mean, look at Rise of the Resistance. It's always a flip of the coin when you go into that last Kylo Ren scene, whether you're getting the animatronic or whether he's outside the ship in the TIE Fighter.
And if he is out there in the TIE Fighter, he's still in the ship, isn't he? Don't they just have the blast shields down?
Yeah, it's still pretty visible.
It's just ridiculous. And meanwhile, there was some kind of media event that happened today or yesterday, and a lot of influencers are talking about it. And it was primarily to celebrate Tiana's Bayou Adventure and the opening of that attraction, which, of course, I'm hoping that everything is functional at this point for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I don't think it is. They finally turned on the water, I think. But it may be off in the next couple of days. The entire attraction is actually supposed to open up on June 28th. The next big thing for the Walt Disney Company this year is Country Bear Jamboree. And what is the critical show element for Country Bear Jamboree?
Fun.
A whole lot of animatronics.
Yes,
here it is.
Many animatronics, and ones that we know had their parts donated from those original Splash Mountain animatronics across the way to these animatronic bears that you see on screen right now. They released some art attached to some of their new costumes and so forth, and July 17th, which by the way is actually Disneyland's birthday as well, so that's interesting. But more animatronics are coming, and the question really becomes: are they going to be able to maintain them to the degree that they always have, or are these B modes, are these alternative modes, are these breakdowns going to be a much more common occurrence? As we know, third shift has been cut. We know that maintenance budgets have been reduced. I don't know, folks. I mean, we'll see, I suppose.
If they can't keep the country bears running, then that's inexcusable. This is not a new thing. This is not a new attraction. Most of these animatronics have been there for decades. I mean, this is not like it would be a complete step backward if all of a sudden Country Bear Jamboree. I've never seen it break down before or anything like that.
You've never seen Country Bear Jamboree break down, Marvin?
I've sat through the Country Bear Jamboree probably 50 times in my life, and I've never seen even a single animatronic not working.
Now, it must have been a while since you've been to the Country Bear Jamboree, because I can tell you,
admittedly, yes,
they still had a lot of shutdowns. In fact, they had to cancel several of their last performances because Disney refused to maintain these. They did not go out with a bang. They went out with a whimper. As a way of appeasing the audience, they let them go through and take a look at everything there. It was such a shame to see it go out in that way. And we've heard from the Stories Matter initiative that they don't really like the Country Bear Jamboree. They consider it problematic, which is a fascinating thing to think about, that most of these things that are Walt approved are problematic to these people. It's almost as if they want to replace everything with something in their own image that is not tested and not doesn't have that vote of confidence that you really need in order to bring the market in. Now that being said, I am looking forward to some of the things. If this ran correctly, I actually think this is a good move for the Walt Disney Company right here to bring back Country Bear Jamboree in a fully maintained, fully updated, fully operational way. But if we see something like Tiana's Bayou Adventure, where things keep breaking over and over and over again, I think this is just going to be another black eye for the parks. What do you guys think?
Look, Country Bear Jamboree is synonymous with Disney parks. It's one of those things that was such a huge technological leap forward when it debuted that it has become just iconic. Okay, if this does not hit with people, if this is soulless, if this is just doesn't work, it's going to be a huge egg on the face of the company. It's absolutely going to be a travesty if they ruin this.
And they need a win right here, because I know that the company is touting, oh, look, 48 all new animatronics as part of Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but we know that that's even a reduction from the amount of AAs that used to exist in this attraction. At least in Magic Kingdom, they used to have 68. So going down to 48, that's quite a reduction already, but some of these are single function figures and they're very, very simplistic, let's say, right? So I think an audio animatronic extravaganza like Country Bear Jamboree, I think would be a nice feather in the tip of everybody's cap. If it ends up working, the question really is, will it work consistently? Not sure.
Vash, this fall I can go to Home Depot and buy a Santa Claus that dances and sings at home. That has more motion than some of what they're calling audio animatronics.
That's a fair point.
Good point.
Oh my. All right, we probably should wrap this up so that we can leave it to our commenters. What do you think about this entire situation? Are we too hard on Disney right now? Is this the kind of thing where if Universal has screens, and we all say that screens are something that you can do at home, so why would we bother? Animatronics are supposed to be that item that only Disney does and does well. I'm not so sure about that anymore. Let us know your thoughts on everything in the comment section down below. Of course, like this video. If you like this video, be sure to go check out Toontown TV and Toontown Wrestling over there, where you can find more Marvin, and consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.